you've done some spinning previously in your life, but have you done any winning? And better yet, have you done any spinning and winning at the same time? Of course you haven't, and that's why I'm making this video. This is not only an insanely fun and brain-dead rogue build, but it just happens to be the strongest rogue build out there, and that's for both leveling and endgame. Crafty has cooked this version of the build together. Can definitely recommend all the builds he creates, and it's our job to cover them. So let's start with how this build works, shall we? To start us off, we have the skill making us seriously dizzy, Dance of Knives. The reason we are using this is twofold. First, it's fun as hell. And secondly, to bust out a gazillion damage. The main reason it's able to do this disgusting amount of damage is that it snapshots a whole lot of skills and passives, meaning if you press these buffs before you start spinning, you get to keep them all the way through. You can see him hitting for upwards of hundreds of millions at times, and there is a lot more damage to gain from gear and Paragon upgrades. And when it comes to the gameplay, it's insanely simple yet beautiful. We have blade shift on our bars, and we use that 3 times before we start spinning. And why is that, you may ask? Because of combo points, you dummy, obviously. By stacking up 3 combo points before we spin, we in turn gain more charges for our Blade of Knives, which in turn makes it a whole lot easier to just keep spinning. Easy peasy. For the Shadow Imbuement, we use it for massive speedrunning damage, along with making shit explode all over the place, Arnie included. You can also pop Shadow Imbuement, start spinning, and then use Cold Imbuement for double the imbuements. Pretty broken, yet beautiful. And of course, Concealment. We use this before we start spinning as well, to snapshot aspect of synergy along with some passives in the skill tree. Now, there are a lot more beautiful synergies this build utilizes, but as to not get your demented old boomer head confused, let's walk our way through the build and blast through them in parts. And we'll start with the gear and aspects. Starting us right off, we're rocking Cowl of the Nameless. And why is that? Because of a buttload of damage, mainly. If you have a massive schlong that kills the diabetic fatty without a problem, then the Heir of Perdition is stronger for more consistent damage. You'll have that in the other version here, in case you forget. You'll then focus on masterworking trick attacks for big hecking damn. Next up is the Tiddy Protection. Here you can, of course, use one of the Ubers if you want, but we do want the Siphoned Victuals aspect, because we'll spam that potion button partially due to increased damage via unstable elixirs, but also so we can use an important rune later on each time we start spinning. You also want a temper chance to stun, as we're grabbing damage while stunned on some of our aspects. Other than that, you'll focus on subterfuge skills here, as Dark Shroud is a subterfuge skill, and more ranks equals more damage reduction. A whole lot of it, actually. Next, we have the gloves. The Tiddy Twisters are great here for massive damage, and we'll focus on masterworking the attack speed, since this directly increases the base damage of Blade of Knives rather than making us attack faster, which is epic. Next, we have the Pantaloonies. There ain't really anything interesting happening on these. Tempering Freeze is however useful, seeing as you'll then be able to use Frigid Finesse, even if Cold Imbuement happens to be on cooldown when you start spinning. You'll also need to get yourself armor capped, which you'll do with this armor roll along with gems in the jewelry. Also important to note, you can basically ignore the top part of the aspect here, as we're using Frostbitten for the damage multiplier. When it comes to resistances, the easiest way to get those capped is to slap on the Rakanoth sneakers. And when these are capped, you can focus on the movement speed and cooldown reduction here. You're also looking to cap out the movement speed bonus at 200%. You'll have this movement speed, 30% from key passive, and a bunch more from the skill tree, which should get you capped with just about any half-decent roll no problemo at all times. Next, we have the weapons. Tempering Dance of Knives damage should be your prio here, and you want to get it to 100%. The synergy aspect is also absolutely disgusting for Big Hecking Dam. On the other weapons, you're grabbing Ashiara's and focus on weapon mastery, along with having aspect of star shards to shoot out blades out of your asshole. Another important factor here is chance to deal poison damage on your second weapon, as without it, you won't be able to poison enemies for some lovely skill tree passives. Nicely done, friends, only the jewelry left then. We'll rock the momentum key passive in this build, as it's currently the strongest due to, well, math. One reason for this is the stolen vigor aspect, granting us a massive damage multiplier. Other than that, you want these three passives as they're by far the highest scaling multipliers. On the rings, the Edging Master along with the Retribution aspect is the name of the game, and you'll utilize Subterfuge cooldown reduction along with Dark Shroud tempers all over the place. And that, my friends, are the gear and aspects. Let's check out the gems and run words now, shall we? Because these are important as hell. For the gems, you're looking to grab armor gems in your jewelry to get that cap sorted, and then you want diamond gems in your weapons. This is due to the No Witness legendary node in the Paragons that we need to get capped. When it comes to the run words, we have two amazing combinations that we're using. A clever man or woman may have noticed that we're not rocking any ultimates, but I just said that we're using the No Witness legendary node. How does this work? Via the Petrify rune, of course. By slapping this on, we gain the benefit automatically just from the rune. The other beautiful combination is spend all you resources to deal Big Damn combo, because we can pop this insanely consistently before each spin just by chugging 2 potions. You'll then just chug those bad boys, get the bonus, and keep it while spinning. Lovely, huh? Damn right. Well, shit, will you look at that. I just checked what time it is, and it's indeed skill tree a fucking clock, and you know it, man or woman. We're starting us off with Blade Shift, as this is not only used for combo points, but also due to the fact that it increases our resistances and doesn't waste our momentum stacks. We then head on over to drop a wet fart on the core skills, along with picking up a few passives for movement speed, damage reduction, and our main source of healing apart from chugging potions. We then go to pick up our main skill, Dance of Knives. Enhanced Dance of Knives is the way in which we keep spinning, as we'll get screwed if we ever run out of stacks. We then have Disciplined Dance of Knives, which grants additional damage via penetrating our enemies. And we can't forget all of these amazing passives for huge damage multipliers. Unstable Elixirs is also the reason as to why you want to keep chugging those potions, despite them containing my piss.
Yummers.
We then have Concealment, which snapshots and grants us vulnerability, crit, and the aspect of synergy. Dark Shroud is our main source of damage reduction, and then we go to pick up some passives and Shadow Imbuement. A lovely skill, blowing up everything as we keep spinning. These are the passives that require poison damage, and is why you want to temper that on one of your one-handers. Cold Imbuement is another bonker skills, both snapshotting and instantly freezes enemies for frigid finesse. We then head on over to the ultimates for some damage multipliers and Lucky Hit, which we can use for healing, crowd control, and more damage in the Paragons. And finally, Momentum. This passive is just lovely, both granting us Big Damn and every stat imaginable, along with being able to use the Stolen Vigor aspect. Just absolutely disgustingly lovely. Well, shit, skill tree complete. You still here? Or am I on the second monitor again? Well, I'll sort that out with one of these. And then we'll go take a look at the Paragons. Here it's all about that massive big dick damage. We start with versatility and then head on over to grab Dance Macabre, which is a huge multiplier for us when it snapshots. We then pick up Canny for Big Damn, followed by Exploit Weakness for the damage bonus, and combat for humongous crit damage. If you're low on Paragon points, then I'd go for no witness right here before picking up any additional rare nodes, and socket devious as if your life depends on it to gain that cap sorted. And finally, we go to pick up Cheap Shot and slap on the Hunter real hecking good for the boost to nearby dex nodes and additional damage it brings. Just lovely. Well, damn friends, nicely done. Let's take a quick look at the mercenaries, shall we? And then we'll get good together. Honestly, you can play whatever mercenary you want, but for damage, Variana is the strongest for this build. This is due to the attack speed it grants us, which, as I said, directly increases the base damage of Dance of Knives. If you enjoy viewing the enemies on the map, then you can also rock Subo if you want. That's up to you, my lovely viewer. Either way, pick Raher for his insanely busted Bastion, and then we'll go get hecking good right about fucking now. What you need to do here is follow the rotation. That's actually important for once, because while this build looks completely brain dead and mostly is as you get spinning, you need to get it set up correctly. So here's the rotation. You want to stack up 3 combo points with your blade shift. Follow that by popping Shadow Imbuement, Dark Shroud, and Concealment. And finally, before you start spinning, you chug exactly 2 potions. Doing all of this, and you're now ready to start spinning. Once up and running, you can use your Cold Imbuement and Dark Shrouds. You also want to try and avoid making quick turns and shit, as you may lose stacks that way. Basically, you just want to keep up the movement speed as much as possible and delete everything along the way. If you ever drop out of your spinning, you just begin with the rotation and start over again. 3 blade shifts, all of your cooldowns, and back to spinning again. You do this until you start winning, and then you can log off and do something else. Like take care of your 20,000 kids or whatever. I don't really give a shit. Alright friends, drop a sub to me and Crafty, or else we'll come by your apartment and drop kick you in the ballsack. And I'll see you in the next one.